Good evening, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alista Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present a very emotional episode of Kamen Rider Gacha Episode 12, The Weird Sister Strikes Back. The writers really do know how to pull people's heartstrings, and this episode is no exception. This episode was very dark, but it also reveals a whole lot because it's not only we get the reveal of Kamen Rider Dread, which by the way, the suit looks pretty badass. It's like the anti Kamen Rider Gacha. Um it's just it's just all about belief. It's all about the light side and the dark side of alchemy. And it just goes to show that Hotaro really has a lot to learn. And unfortunately, Minato sensei is a lousy teacher. Harima is revealed to be the traitor, and it just goes to show, as she was force choking the life of Hotaro, that he does not even know the basics of alchemy. At least in Harry Potter, you see Harry and his friends learning the ways of magic and using what they learn to go against people like Voldemort and his Death Eaters. Here, Hotaro, his usage is hunting out chemies and fighting Malgaims, but we as an audience never have seen Hotaro even practice magic, let alone Minato sensei be on a chalkboard and just say, hey, this is how you levitate using your ring, and this is how you do this and do that with your ring. He does not know. And can you imagine if he would have learned how to use his ring? He would have been a well-rounded Kamen Rider, that not only that he can fight, but he can also use magic. He would have been like a battle mage, a Kamen Rider alchemist, throwing like stuff with his magic and fighting, doing the Superman punch and doing his weird attempt with a spear. Like, he could have done all that, but Minato sensei, I have to say, he sucks. And Hotaro, like, he keeps losing my respect, because there were moments where, like, you could have just stood up for yourself, not Chemy's. Of course, it's his character to say, like, well, look, I don't care if I'm weak to you, meaningless, I'm unworthy of the gacha driver, but please don't look down upon chemies. I'm like, dude, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you need to stand up for yourself as a person. I feel like he doesn't value himself all that much. And at the very end of this episode, you see Spanner having his spat and just telling off Kudo, Hotaro, and Renge, look, because of your beliefs in chemies, it led us here. It nearly got everybody here killed. And you need to wake up. And he just leaves. And that would have been the moment for Hotaro to be like, look, I understand that my beliefs in chemies goes against your beliefs, but shut up. You, Mr. Hotshot S tier alchemist, you got easily beaten by Dread. Like, you didn't fare any better, so shut up. I wish he could have just done that and just stood up for himself, but he didn't. And I understand that he's still shooken up. You see him just sitting there with his knees and arms crossed, like he's in disbelief in what just happened with Sabimaru, Harima being killed off, and just seeing that he was on the verge of death. He was being punched into oblivion. and yet like he just didn't stood up for himself. um so I want to do this a little bit differently. I don't want to go through into full detail like I usually do. I just want to give you guys the cliff notes. So we have the reveal of Harima being the traitor, and she still views Hotaro's ways of being weak and meaningless, because there was a moment there where she still has the spider card, and you can see the spider is all scared and terrified, and Hotaro's like, lady, what you're doing is wrong and you're scaring it, please stop. And of course we get to learn Harima's reason as to why she joined the Weird Sisters. It's basically because she wants power. She said that she reveres the Weird Sisters, that they will give her the power she needs to do whatever the hell she wants. And her arm being the way that it is, it's a small price to pay. It's the markings of forbidden alchemy. And Minato Sensei, of course, asks, why did you join him? And it's just, again, to open the door to, air quotes, Kingdom Hearts, and to learn the truth about alchemy itself. And of course, Minato Sensei was like, do realize that opening that door will lead to the world's destruction? And of course, Harima does not care. She doesn't view it that way. But it's just all a means to power. And unfortunately for her, she gets killed off due to her loyalty to the Weird Sisters. Because as the Weird Sisters made their appearance, their grand appearance, you see Harima, Harima be all eye-struck, because I believe it was her first time actually seeing the Weird Sisters in person. And she's like, oh, you honor me with your presence, I'm glad to be helping you on your quest to opening the door to darkness. And Weird Sister number 1, who's being played by the 9-year-old, says, shut up, you know your place. And that's it. And of course, Harima was in shock. Like, why are you saying these things to me after being loyal to you guys and helping your cause? Which leads to Weird Sister number 1. Yeah, about that. Your usefulness to us has been fulfilled, and your services are no longer required. So she gets killed off, and Harima, being all shocked, like, why are you doing this? Like, I've been helping you. But she ends up disappearing, dissolving before everybody's eyes. And Hotaro was like all confused, like, why did you discarded your ally? Like, I thought you guys were in league. Like, why did you do that to her? And this is where Weird Sister number 1 pretty much points out Hotaro's supposed weakness, which is companionship and friendship. And this is where the Weird Sisters attack Minato Sensei and Spanner, and we get this reveal that, okay, Sabimaru is the chosen one, the guinea pig, and just being the first host to becoming Kamen Rider Dread. And it's a dark driver created from human malice. And you can tell that poor Sabi is fighting the control. Like, he doesn't want to do this, you can tell, but he is forced to do so. And then we get the transformation. And then we get this Anakin and Palpatine scene where you see Weird Sister number 1 granting the name Kamen Rider Dread to the newly dark Kamen Rider. And Spanner comes in, quickly attacks Dread, and he quickly gets defeated almost immediately. So you can already tell that Dread is very, very powerful. And then Hotaro was like, okay, I need to save my best friend. Well, not really best friends, but I need to save my senpai. So we get this awesome fight scene between the two, and I have to say, I have to give kudos to the suit actors because it told a really good story. I have to say, Dread doing the splits, I mean, I was impressed. But I have to say, the suit actors really done their job to really put emotion into this fight. And Minato Sensei gets this shocking revelation as to why the Weird Sisters were getting these blank cards. It's to create replica cards of the already acquired Chemy cards. And Weird Sister number one confirms that, yeah, the cards that Dread is using right now are pretty much replicas, and they're doing quite well. And then Kudo makes a shocking discovery that Dread is actually matching Hotaro's fighting style. Everything, like from combos to fighting, it's everything. It's a mere copy of Hotaro. So Kamen Rider Dread is literally the evil version of Kamen Rider Gacha. Um, and we have moments where, like, Dread really beats up Hotaro to the point where he demorphs and he gets punched into oblivion, and everybody is helpless to do anything because he's really that strong. And Renge picks up Sabimaru's iPad, and you can tell that the iPad, who is still linked to Sabimaru, is asking his friends to save him. I don't want to use chemies in this way, and please make me stop. Someone save me. And this is where Hotaro was like, he stood up, hugs Dread, and just trying to reach, Sabimaru as to, hey, let's go back into hunting chemies. Let's go back into finding UFO X. Let's go back to those good times. We can do it. Just fight the urge. Fight the driver. Fight the Weird Sisters magic. You can do this. And again, I know I'm going a little bit fast forward, but when Hotaro transforms back into his champion form and tries to deliver a Superman punch, I think the driver itself has a will of its own, because Dread's side face began to dissolve a little bit to reveal Sabimaru's, his eye, and you could see it, go like tear up, and this was what causes Hotaro to stop the attack. Like he can't do it. He cannot punch. Like, he cannot punch him. He cannot. But that's where Dread made an opening and decides to punch him into oblivion, and then it leads to Hotaro hugging him and trying to reach out. But you can tell it's starting to give an effect. You could see Sabimaru fighting the effects of the Dark Driver, but ultimately, with it and Weird Sisters number one's magic, it just it was too powerful. But there was moments where he indeed tried to stop himself. But then when all hope seems lost, you see this sword coming down from the sky, and this is where Hotaro gets his vision of his new form, his 100 form, and he gets blessed by UFO X, because at the very end we discovered that it was UFO X who was the one who gave Hotaro the X Gacha Berg sword. It's pretty much Gacha combined with Excalibur. It's pretty much Gacha's Excalibur sword. And with his last will, he transforms back. He takes a sword slash onto Kamen Rider Dread, which renders Dread on his knees and just emotionally just sitting there on his knees. And then he directs his sword to Weird Sister number 1, but he collapses, and that was it. And then Minato Sensei knew like the battle is lost here, so he uses his ring of power. He creates this mist and tells everybody we need to go right now. We need to retreat. And then the mist disappears, but not before we see Hotaro just look up at the sky and realizes that it was UFO X that gave him the sword, and disappears and thanks him. And then we get the retreat. The Weird Sisters are in shock, like, man, we were so close. They were so close. But Weird Sister number 1 says, don't worry about it. We won the fight, and we will get them next time. And then it leads to the final scene, where this is where I wish Hotaro would have just stood up for himself. But we have this scene in the classroom. We have Minato Sensei telling everybody, look, this is too much for students to deal with, so I need to talk to the higher ups, which I don't think will do any good. And he just leaves. And then you have Hotaro, if only I would have been stronger. And this is where Spanner just goes on the attack, the verbal attack, like, oh, Mr. Hotshot Alchemist, like, you nearly got killed. Like, we nearly got killed because of your beliefs. Like, you need to wake up. Because of your beliefs of Chemy's being allies to mankind and all that, it's just led us to this moment. They're an abomination to natural order. This is what led us here. We nearly got killed. You need to wake up. And he leaves. But I wish Hotaro would just stood up and said to Spanner, like, look, Mr. Hotshot, S tier alchemist, you didn't fare so well either. Yes, I got beaten up, but don't turn this into, oh, it's because of my beliefs in Chemy's that led us here. No way. I wish he could have done that, but it will go against his character to do so. But I wish I would have gotten more respect for Hoto's character if he would have had the courage to just stand up for himself. Then I would have given him a little bit more respect. But he didn't do that. But I understand that he is still shooken up. He nearly died. And I feel bad for Renge. I really feel bad for Kudo, because I'm sure she feels very responsible. Because remember that one scene between her and Weird Sister number 1. She said, Weird Sister number 1, that whatever happens in that school will be on your hands. So I could already imagine what's going through Kudo's mind right now. Like, she feels responsible for Sabimaru's kidnapping, to Hotaro nearly getting himself killed. It's just, I'm sure she's feeling like she's blaming herself. But at this point, everybody from Kudo to Hotaro is blaming themselves for what just happened. However, Hotaro just stood up and said, you know what, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna give everybody their smiles back, and I'm gonna save my senpai. And that's the end of the episode. But I wish it didn't end it that way, because I would have preferred this ending. After that, Hotaro goes home, sees his mom, and of course his mom will be like, what the hell just happened to you? Because, Dread really punched him really badly. You can see the cuts and bruises on his face. But instead of Hotaro, giving her his mom answers, he just runs towards her, hugs her, and cries. And this is where Mama-san would have said, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. If you need someone to cry on, let it be me. Go ahead, cry. Have this tender moment between mother and son. And that would have been the icing on the cake if that would have been the ending scene to this dark episode. But it didn't happen that way. The reason why I wanted to add that scene is because what's the point of having a parent in this show when they're not used properly? I wish Mama-san had this moment where her son is hugging her, crying after what he almost, like, he nearly died. He lost a friend, and it's just, and people are giving him crap that he is unworthy. His beliefs go against the grain. Like, he is the only one against so many people, between the people from the alchemy school to the weird sisters. Like, it would have been his breaking point, but at least he has a mom to just cry on and just give advice. Of course, Hotaro is not allowed to tell his mom that, hey, I'm a part of this this top secret alchemy school. I'm a Kamen Rider who fights for justice. I have this belief that these Chemys, these creatures, can coexist with humans. Like, he can't reveal all these things in fear of Minato Sensei wiping her memories out. Like, that would have been like a real moment, but it didn't happen that way. I wish it could have happened that way, but it didn't. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I mean, this is a very dark episode. It's just, this episode, aside from Kamen Rider Dread making his debut, it's all about belief. Belief that forbidden alchemy is the way to power. People are still anti-chemies because it's go against the natural order of things. According to Spanner and the others, it led them to nearly getting killed, and it's just, it's very sad. But Hotaro, I will give him credit when credit is due. Like, regardless of what people think about him, it doesn't derail his goals for chemies. But at the same time, it's just, as annoying as Hotaro is, I wish he would have just have some self-respect, aside from, don't look down on chemies. Just have the self-respect to defend himself, but I don't know, it's just always like he will take verbal abuse and for the sake of chemies. Which, come on, man, stop being the verbal punching bag. Stand up for yourself. Also, again, I may be repeating myself, but this is important, that Minato Sensei really needs to teach him alchemy. He really needs to teach him alchemy, because look, like, what's going on, man? Haruma herself even points out that you don't know a thing about alchemy, even the basics. You don't know a damn thing. That's the thing that frustrates me about this show. But, I mean, hopefully we'll learn some magic, but I don't know. But at least it will give him the resolve he needs to call out for UFO X to help him rescue Sabimaru, and hopefully he'll be rescued. I don't know for sure if Sabimaru will be the legit holder of the Dread driver, but we have to wait and see. I have to say this too. Regardless of what you think of Sabimaru being a Kamen Rider is irrelevant, because for me, if I were Sabi's actor, I'm sure he's thrilled of being a Kamen Rider. I'm sure that was one of his goals or his dreams to become a writer. I mean, I I like these type of stories where you have actors be like, my dream is to become a member of a sentai. My dream is to become a Kamen Rider, and actually achieve that dream. To me, it gives me warmth in my non-existent heart. So I have to. I'm happy for Sabi's actor that you get to be a Kamen Rider, regardless if you're evil and mind controlled, and it sucks all your lifespans. But hey, you're a Kamen Rider nonetheless. In my theory, before I leave, like what would happen to the the Dread driver? I don't know, because it has that deadly side effect. So I think once the drivers is at the hands of the alchemist, I believe either they have to make the decision of either destroying it or find a way to use it for good. Will Sabi be the one to continue as Dread? I have no idea. That's too far ahead. But if you want my opinion, you know, have somebody else become Dread, and see how it goes. I don't want to see it destroyed, especially this soon. But we have to wait and see on that part. All right, kids. Thank you so much for listening. Tell me, did you like this episode? Did you dislike the episode? And I know I know this is a different video because I usually go into a full recap, but I decided to do things a little bit differently. But yeah, what do you guys think of the video? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. That's important. And sorry to upload this video very late, but I've been busy. The pressures of ruining a kingdom to trying to live a life in this mortal world, it's very difficult. But hopefully things get back on track, things slow down, and hopefully I can upload videos at least on Sunday or Mondays. But as of right now, I do apologize for the late upload. All right, kiddos, I'll see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny!